Now we come to a really important part of the program, and that is understanding all of our bar equipment. You have to know what it is and how to use it in order to be effective. Now, before I get into all of this in front of me, I want to point out something that's very important. As bartenders, we've got to come to work prepared, and that means in uniform, groomed well, etc. But we also need to bring three essential items with us. One is the bottle blade or bottle opener, and obviously this is for opening bottles. Don't expect the bar or other bartenders to provide this to you. You need to bring it yourself. The second item is a lighter. Maybe not as commonly used nowadays as it once was, but it's still important to have to light candles or potentially to offer a light in those venues where smoking is allowed in sections. And thirdly, a pen. Now, you need to have a pen to write down over-rings or to jot down general information, and the expression often goes, bring 3 pens, 1 to use, 1 to lose, and 1 to give away. These 3 things are essential for every professional bartender, so make sure you bring them to your shift. Now let's get into the tools. I've got an assortment of tools here, and I'll start with the most commonly used one. And of all of the tools that we use as bartenders, probably our main item that we use most of the time is this, and it's got various names: a pour spout, a nip pourer, and essentially all it is a spout that narrows the flow of a liquid down so it's easier for us as bartenders to pour. Obviously they fit snugly onto the top of the bottles as so. We'll talk more about pouring technique, but one thing to notice is there's an air hole at the top and it leads down into a small air pipe at the back. This is important for this not to be obstructed as we pour. So the pour spout, very important. Now the pour spout is often used with one of these, a jigger or a measuring device. This particular one's a stainless steel measuring device with 1 ounce and 1.5 ounces measuring capacity. There's also plastic or acrylic jiggers as well. This one is a 1 ounce pour that actually fits on the top of some of the pour spouts. Probably the next most commonly used item is the shaker. Now this is the shaker tin, strong stainless steel tin that's used for mixing drinks. And this is often used in conjunction with the mixing glass fitting snugly on the top, and they're used in unison. This is often called an American shaker or a 2-piece shaker. This item here is called a Hawthorne strainer, and this is used in conjunction with the 2-piece or American shaker to strain out the ice. It fits snugly over the top, is held carefully, and the ice is held back by the spring so the chilled liquid can come out. Hawthorne strainer is often found very close to, if not on top of, the mixing tin itself. This is another type of strainer. This is a fine strainer, or in some circles a tea strainer, and we use the tea strainer to strain even further flesh and solid ingredients out of the mix. So we might even use the 2 strainers in conjunction. The Hawthorne strainer to filter the liquid to 1 degree, and then the fine strainer or the tea strainer to further filter the liquid. This is called a muddling stick. Now there's various shapes and sizes of muddling sticks, but this is used to crush solids into liquids. It's often used with fresh fruit such as limes and strawberries to mash the mix together. So the bartender gets right over and mashes the mix using this particular device. And this is a wine opener, or waiter's friend. There are 3 parts to it: the lever, the worm or the corkscrew, and the knife. Ideally, it can always be found in the bar as well. This item here is a mixing spoon, and this is used to basically stir cocktails and also to help us out getting ice out of blenders and liquid out of blenders as well. So it's a handy device to have in the bar, not used that commonly, but essential nonetheless. This is a fruit channeler. This is actually used to create twists, and we'll look at that when we do the garnishing a little bit later. And this is an item that is used to create fancy garnishes, more so for cocktails. Obviously, with all the garnishes, we're going to also require a cutting board and a knife. Now this is just a small cutting board. They obviously come in larger sizes as well, and this is a fairly standard serrated fruit knife. These 2 items must be sterilized, must be cleaned at all times, and washed after every use and stored in a clean, dry place. The bigger items out the back here include an ice scoop. Obviously this is used to scoop ice. We never use glasses straight into the ice. We always use a scoop, and the scoop is positioned into the ice with the handle facing out so that it doesn't get contaminated by anything that's on your hands. I also have a build tray. Now this is a drip tray designed for us to build drinks upon the bar top or on a bench, but to capture the spills or the drips or the overflow so that we don't end up with a bit of a mess over the bar. These are very, very handy devices and usually can be found in front of the service point or service station. Then we have the garnish tray. This is just a 4-pocket garnish tray, and you'll notice all the fruit is stacked quite neatly in there. This helps us organise our fruit, organises our garnishes. We tend to use a lid or a potentially Glad wrap and cover it over when it's not in use or when it's overnight so that the fruit stays fresh, but it's a great way to keep your fruit and garnishes organised. And that's often combined with fruit tongs so that we can actually use them to pick up the fruit without getting our hands involved. This item here is a salt rimmer or a margarita rimmer. Now what the object of the game is here is to press the glass onto the top or the wet sponge and then press it into the salt, and it's an automatic easy way to do a salt rim on a glass. So this is very common in bars where margaritas are all the rage, but also can be used with sugar or other coconut flakes, other things to make cocktails a little bit more exciting. And lastly, we have our store and pour juice containers. These juice containers, this particular one holds about 750 mils. They also come in 1 litre sizes, 2 litres, I think even 4 litre sizes as well, depending on how much juice you go through. Now they've obviously can come apart with screw off the top, and you can actually attach the bottom to the top and use them for storage into the fridge. The beautiful thing about these particular pieces of equipment is that they help you treat juices more or less like bottles, so it doesn't slow you down in mid-service. These are often positioned in the station next to the ice. Obviously, I guess in terms of other condiments and accessories, we have our straws and our napkins also close at hand on either side of the ice well here as well, so that when we're making drinks we can actually quickly straw them, etc. So there we go, there's all the key equipment of the bar. All of this is going to be put into practice a little bit later on, so you'll see it in use, but it's important to know the name, know what it looks like, and know how to use it.